It's still raining in the morning and it's forecast for another 2 days north of here, so I don't think we're going to make Prudhoe Bay. So next step, we're headed south for the first time. We need to maximize what's in here completely because Yukon River is out of gas. We're headed south. Yukon River is 120 miles. Fairbanks is about the 250 mark. So, given that it's wet, we're overloaded and everything's covered in mud, we're gonna have to keep an eye on our average mileage. Set the bike upright, get a little more in it. Right, and that's as full as full's gonna get. We're actually coming out the overflow underneath. So we need 250 miles out of this tank. Might as well set up the mirrors already. The amount of bouncing around yesterday, shifted mirrors, camera mounts, the whole lot. A very kindly gentleman with a rented GS put some anti-fog liquid, the koala stuff, on my visor. I think that's going to make a big difference to what we can do. Points yesterday we were doing half the speed we could have done because I just couldn't see anything. It's raining again. Yukon River has no gas, so the mileage to Fairbanks is now 255. We're getting 60 miles to the gallon, but we've just filled up. Now if I can get 70 to the gallon, that's 210 plus 0.4 of a gallon, whatever the reserve. 3.4 gallons is our total anyway. So that won't make it, but we're carrying 4 litres in the German fuel bottles. So in theory it's doable, but the amount of up and down, the rain, sorry, the amount of mud that we're carrying around on this bike already, we're gonna see what we can do. Yukon may get fuel today, or they may get fuel tomorrow. That's kind of how it is around here. What I don't realise right at this moment is I've gone through my worst day yesterday. Today's actually probably going to be one of my best days. See if this guy's okay. You okay?
I'm just hitchhiking my bikes.
Yeah, everything okay?
I'm okay. Yeah, it's just the bike. I'm just waiting for someone for a ride, just to hitchhike over.
Okay, but you don't need anything. You're alright?
No, I'm totally fine.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
While I am pretty disappointed that the weather has not been kind to us for a lot of this trip, I'm not too sad that I can't get to Prudhoe Bay. It's 2 days of solid rain, mud, roadworks, and pilot cars going too slowly. It's one thing to challenge yourself, it's another thing to torture yourself. And I'm not starting a journey from there to the tip of South America, so I don't really have to get there. When the visibility was kind enough to let up, it really did look a lot like Scotland. I don't think I've felt so alone in my entire life. I've not seen anyone. 30 miles. It's less tarmac than I remember. Changes pretty quickly back and forward. The potholes. But yeah, it's pretty desolate. But right now it's cold and wet and no one else around. Either the glove's different or my hand is different, but it really doesn't want to go on. Just like on the way up, on the way down, the GPS is trying to make us turn onto another road, which doesn't make any sense.
Now let's see if this road actually exists, because the northbound road wasn't even there. It wants to send me back to Fairbanks that way. And now I gotta put up with this thing, right? Make a U-turn for 50 miles. But I don't know, if we just stick with this, we'll be fine. And we're at 68 miles to the gallon, so we're gonna have to improve that. Yes, we go. Want to go wide. Don't want to lean on the tires too much. Still don't really trust these knobby tires too much with the water and the leaning and the gravel. Alright, we're going to get back over Finger Mountain down the other side, and I think it should be a little less exposed and a little warmer. I'm hoping the rain eases up. We are making better time than yesterday, but the weather is worse.
This was also the time in the trip where the bike really did start to come into its own. And I think my confidence built a little as well. Although, having seen no one all morning, it was a little weird to find that the Arctic Circle signpost was deserted.
And I'm just wiping mud on my visor. Alright, no one has stopped here in the last 20 minutes. I guess, you know, timing wise. Well, actually, there's got to be a bunch of people at the Yukon River camp who may have turned around after coming out of Fairbanks and realizing they can't get fuel. Right. Turn left for south.
The funny thing is, because of what I went through yesterday, none of this seems scary anymore. It's all doable, it just takes a bit of patience.
Made it to the top of the hill. Mud has eased up. My legs are covered in mud.
For this road, in this weather, I would take this little Honda any day of the week over any big BMW, KTM, Africa Twin.
This is Finger Mountain, and definitely between Fairbanks and Coldfoot, this is the place you are most exposed. Just up in the clouds, certainly wet today, but visibility, the wind, this is where it's at its worst.
But even at its worst, at some point, I just started to forget about the fact that it was raining or that it was slippery. I just had fun. And I think the two things that made that possible were, one, staying relatively dry and warm, and two, having a very compliant, forgiving bike. If my feet were wet here, you'd be hearing nothing but swear words.
Seems like it hasn't been raining as much in this area, so it's actually fairly solid if we stay in the middle of the road. We are south of the Arctic Circle, probably 30 miles from Yukon River. We're going to see if they've got gas. I think we might squeeze by if they don't, or we'll get close to Fairbanks. Even quieter today than it was yesterday. No one was at the Arctic Circle sign. I've seen 3 trucks and 1 motorhome. No motorcycles today. But of course it's determined by the time of day, the direction people are traveling. I would have expected to see somebody heading up this way by now. It's just after lunchtime, but nothing so far. Washboard. Stand up for a bit. So this section back, we are 101 miles back from Coldfoot, going south. And I guess from mile 90 onwards, it has been this pretty smooth, hard-packed dirt road. It's probably my favorite, the whole journey up and the part that we've gone back. This is by far my favorite. I suspect maybe it's rained here a little less than the rest of the place, but you know, a little bit of mud, but wow, look at the size of this hill. But it's been pretty smooth and actually managed to make up some good time, as opposed to, you know, 15 miles an hour, you know, legs down, paddling in the mud. Getting a little rougher, but not too bad. Yep. This is my favorite place on the Dalton Highway so far, at least inside the Coldfoot. I hope those guys going north, the weather takes it easy on them, but I'm not sure it will. And to be honest, to get up there, to go through all the roadworks in the rain, to stay there, and then to come back on a day with 85% chance of rain, I don't know if I've got that in me. But I don't. That's, you know, the reason I decided to come back. And also, I'm traveling solo and I'm slower than everyone else. If anything happens, or I fall off the edge of the road, I might end up on my own for a while. The Arctic Circle, and then 60 miles north of that, it's an Arctic camp. That is good enough for me. In the last 12 days, we've had rain for at least 10 of them. I remember the sunshine in Victoria. That's about the last time it was full sun, warmth, you know. I want to go find that again. And as the mechanic in Fairbanks said, it's a good idea not to have a plan in a way, just to let the weather and the forest fires dictate your schedule, and I think that's what we're going to do. God, it's beautiful here. Yeah, either I'm getting more confident or the road's getting a little easier than yesterday. Bike's still shifting around, but nothing too scary. There was a couple of moments yesterday where really it wanted to get away from me. A couple of days' time, this will be a very easy place to ride. Always keeping an eye on my mirror. Only once has a truck managed to sneak up behind me, and he just sounded a very light horn to let me know he was there. It was the end of yesterday when I was just fully focused on the last 10 miles of mud. If he'd sounded the full-on horn, I probably would have lost it, you know. But I'll just keep an eye on the mirror. People will lead you to, maybe it's these conditions just slowing the trucks down slightly, certainly over the rutted parts, but you know, places on the internet would lead you to believe they're all doing 90 miles an hour all day long. That's not really true. I mean, they're 50, 60 for the most part. They do slow down. Most of them, if I've pulled over and slowed down, certainly if they're throwing up water, they'll move over slightly to the right and slow down a little themselves. Only one truck just barreled through past me at full speed, and that was just a wall of mud. This is a working road. It's not a tourist destination as such. So, you know, the trucks have the priority, or at least they should be afforded the priority. In fact, there's a forest fire at the bottom end of this road, and the road is still open, is possibly because the trucks need to use this route, and it would cost too much money to shut it down. I need to keep reminding myself that this isn't like any other trip. It's not going to get dark. I don't have to get there by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. It doesn't matter. There'll be somebody at the location where I'm staying, you know, till 10, 11 at night. It will be just as bright at midnight as it is now, so there's no rush. Definitely brighter ahead than it is behind. pipeline to the right and going under the bridge. Any minute now we're going to find out if they've had fuel delivered. And over there is the gas, and I can see there's a note on it already. Let's just see what it says, because I can. 24 to Hilltop. Okay, so there's no fuel at Yukon River. And there is a road closure on the Elliott Highway, south of here, marker 54 or so. As of an hour ago, there was a road closure 100 miles from here. So we got two issues. Number one, there's no fuel here. Number two, the road might be closed. And I thought the problems would be further north. So, if we're conservative with fuel, we should make it. If the road is closed, I don't know what we do, because we don't have the gas to get 100 miles, then turn around and come another 100, and then stay here. But I can't imagine they'll keep us for long. The fire is right now 2.5 miles west of the road. All we can do is go on, see what happens. What a difference a day makes. It's rained a little bit less here, it's dried out very quickly. Still damp on the edges, and still probably 3 inches of mud on the edges, but the wind's picked up. But, night and day. Now it's a little bit drier. And I can see properly through the visor. So in the wet, yeah, 2 or 3 tricky patches, and you need a lot of concentration. In the dry, I mean, keep your eyes open, pay attention to the potholes, but far, far easier. Right now, all we have to worry about is fuel and fires and road closures. Alright, we're doubling back to look for the little foam cover for the microphone on the GoPro. No sign of it so far. We're not going to do this indefinitely because can't really afford to waste the fuel.
With all this riding, one of the things I haven't thought about is what else are we going to see in Alaska, and how do we get home?
4th time across the Yukon River. I do love this bridge. Little imperfections in each plank, but little dips here and there. If the mic cover fell off on this bridge, I'm sure it's been sacrificed to the river. I am so grateful we're not dealing with rain anymore. I mean, we will be later for sure, but let's just enjoy this while we've got it. The foam mic cover has been sacrificed to the Alaskan gods, which is fine. There's always a price to pay. I do like this road now. Wow, look at that view. And when this road is dry or drying, oh, it makes such a difference. There's still going to be mud in a couple of sections, but I'm doing twice the speed I was yesterday. This is so much better than I imagined. A lot of it's been harder than I imagined, but you know, you learn from these things. And yesterday just makes me appreciate today all the more. Good road, sun's peeking out, a little bit warmer. Not even going to worry about what's 100 miles down the road. Just enjoy this bit. Alright, we're just pulling the clutch on the downhill sections just to try and save a little fuel. I'm glad I did this. But if I had an easy place to sit and wait a few days, or somewhere else to go, or if Denali was open, I would have waited till the weather was a bit more like this, or even sunnier. but it's an experience, and it's been a good one. Difficult, but yeah. Next thing to figure out is where we go next. South, but who knows where. Just gonna go carefully.
This is the second of these sections that have traffic lights that don't seem to ever change. I don't know if they're only on when a road crew is working or they have to be manned, but they can't just stay on red forever.
Right, so it's a red light on both ends and it never changes. Somebody spent some money screwing that up. It's like I'm getting to ride this road. I was going to say twice, but I am riding it twice. But it's such a different road in the dry. Now that I'm not fogging up the visor, I don't have rain in front of me, there isn't rain on the ground, it's not dark and grey. You really can see the texture of the road, you know, you really can read it so much better. I'm almost double the speed I was doing before. I'm so much more relaxed. I've got time to look at the view. We haven't got to the section with the massive potholes yet, but we are more than halfway back to Fairbanks. And the fact that the sun has come out on occasion is just the cherry on top. This is a different road. You know, you still got to be careful, don't get me wrong, but you're able to read it so much better now that everything isn't covered in water. Such as here, I know I need to slow down a little bit. Oh, it's lovely. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't go all the way up to Prudhoe Bay in the rain and the grey, and that I've turned around and I've got all this to myself. I've seen 3 trucks today and 1 camper. That is it in 160 miles. Thinking of that, how's fuel? Still on 1/3 of a tank. Okay. This must have been what they were talking about, mile marker 50 something. Road closed, but I presume it's just going to push us to the right on the diversion.
This is where I confused a closed road with there being a diversion. Also, this isn't the Elliott Highway yet.
Speed limit 40, we're fine. Yeah, arrow pointing to the right. Okay, so this, unless there's another closure somewhere else, but this is the diversion that we've used before. It's a regular haul road, the old road. It's a little more slippery. But yeah, you can see from the blue track on the GPS that we've done this before. The old haul road is definitely a little more slippery than the regular one. The sun's disappeared as well, but oh, so I think we're at the beginning of the pothole section. Right, we need to get 100 miles now. Which means we need to get 267 out of the tank. And this is not helping. Yeah, the potholes. And when I say holes, that's fine. Some of them disappear, you know, but up to a foot into the ground. Let's see if we see one. Like that one. We have hit one pothole pretty hard with the front wheel, but so far nothing feels too weird. God, it's like we're flying over the stuff today. This might be the moment on the trip where you think, nothing's going to get better than this. This is it. It's always those moments of the perfect road, the sun pops out, maybe you got some music in your ears.
It's nice to have the reassurance of seeing the broken down Mustang again. but everything takes a bit of a turn sideways not far down the road. I encounter a line of traffic, all stopped. More worrying is that there's a bunch of people out of their vehicles. In the rest of the states, when a road's closed, there's usually a diversion, another way to get where you're going. But this far north, and in a lot of Alaska, when the road's closed, you're not going anywhere. It seems the river has washed away the road and they're trying to put a new culvert in and rebuild the road. These guys have been here for 8 hours already, and the locals are convinced that the work crew is going to go off shift soon and we might be spending the night here. Which is worrying considering I'm the only person that doesn't have a tent or a vehicle to sleep in. I might have to wear my helmet all night just to keep the bugs away.
You see the 2 owls in the tree?
Great,
Pine tree?
great
Oh,
that
yeah.
pine tree right there.
Oh yeah, I do.
Thankfully, 3 hours later, after an 11-hour job, the road is complete. Thank God for that. It was at this stop that I would have run out of fuel with the stock fuel tank, so we did refill 4 extra litres.
It's been a 3-hour wait while they put in a new culvert. And I've apparently rebuilt the road, so let's see what it looks like. Got to meet a few other bikers, so that was cool. Most of whom doing a very long distance.
Now when I say they rebuilt the road, it's not like they tarmacked it in 11 hours. They just used whatever materials are at their disposal to create a solid surface. But hey, it was enough. It worked.
See you on the road. Good luck, my friend. Be safe.
care, you have fun.
Next up, a day off in Fairbanks, where I try and wash the calcium chloride off the bike, otherwise it'll never get clean, and figure out where we go next.